This video is sponsored by Squarespace. This 40mm lens is from the 1970s, and I am totally shocked at what it's capable of doing. But before I jump into some more specifics, let's dive into the City of London and do some street photography.
No, we find it pretty interesting.
Move it for you.
Oh no, we find it interesting. It's just a bit unusual.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate.
How are you, gents? Okay?
Yeah, good. Having fun.
Finish. Can you come back, please, here to me?
Isn't it weird how we don't actually know what the outcome to these images are, but we're trying anyway? Like, there's enough things that are interesting enough for us to go, yeah, all right then. I'll press the shutter button, but I can't convincingly tell you that I've got anything worth looking at.
Just want
is
to give
this?
you one falafel. Just it's hot. Be careful. Don't burn yourself. As in,
I'm allergic to chickpeas. I can't have it.
really? Yeah. This is all chickpeas. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
You
Don't
can
worry.
have
Thank you, mate. No, it's all right. I'll just have this. That's very kind of you, that is.
Thank you.
Come on.
I try and that ended up getting Before we carry on with this video, I'd like to take a quick moment to share with you today's sponsor, Squarespace. I've been using Squarespace for many years, even before they became sponsors of this channel, and if you're a photographer who wants to look more professional and take your business to a new level, I cannot recommend them enough. Squarespace has been my go-to for hosting my photography portfolio, selling products, and even writing weekly blogs. One example of how I use Squarespace is I like to create dedicated pages for my photography from specific locations and events. I recently visited Italy and therefore have put together a gallery of my favorite images from that trip. Having a space that really feels like yours is important, and with hundreds of beautiful templates to choose from and their super straightforward drag and drop system, building and designing a website has never been easier. So why not at least start a free trial and see what you think? After that, when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/MikeChudley to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Let's get back to the video. So what's the deal with this tiny 40mm lens? And I actually think it's the smallest lens Leica have ever produced. This was made for the Leica CL back in between 1973 and 1976. Very short production run. But the Leica CL was also made in collaboration with Minolta, I do believe. So there is an exact copy of this lens, but rebranded as Minolta, or in fact, this was rebranded as Leica. So this lens is knocking around in two different formats. But these Leica versions are very hard to come by. And this specific one is on a pretty incredible journey, which I'll talk more about. Firstly though, I am actually shocked at how good and fun and capable this little boy is. I've been having so much fun the past few weeks using this. And the reason for my tone of surprise is, come on, this lens is from 1970s and I've put this on my Leica M11P and it's been just fantastic. In this case, size absolutely does matter. And this being so small is one of the reasons I've enjoyed it so much. And this has made me think I could try and find this lens, not this one specifically, but find one for sale and buy it, or maybe look at the Minolta versions and buy that, because I'm pretty sure they're exactly the same. Or even maybe look at getting an Elmarit, a 28 Elmarit. And I'm not too picky on the focal length here. If I could choose a focal length, it would probably be 28 or 35. Although the 40mm has surprised me at how fun it was. But yeah, back to the size here, that's tiny. I'm interested in getting more tiny lenses because this has been ergonomically so fun and lightweight and easy to use. I've been surprised, yeah. So I might have to try and find this lens and buy one that's available to buy, or maybe look at getting a 28 Elmarit just so I can enjoy something so small. The reason I mentioned buying a different one, because this one is not mine. This lens specifically belongs to a guy called Ulisys over in the States. And this is on, it's on a bit of a chainmail pass the parcel situation, and I'm actually the 8th or 9th photographer to use this. Dan Baker, my good friend, used it before. Before him, Goffy had it, another photography YouTuber. You might have seen his video about this lens. I'll leave a link in the description so you can see that. And I think the plan is for this to basically travel the world. Different photographers get to use it in different situations, in different locations, and then eventually it'll go back to Ulisys in the States, and this has got a pretty cool project behind it. I would love to see, and I haven't spoke to Ulisys about this, I'd love to see some collection of everyone's photographs with this lens, because it's so cool that all these different people at different locations with different styles of photography are all kind of having bat at this 1970s lens. So it'd be cool to see everyone's work collectively once the project is over, if it is ever over. But Ulisys did say that his friend's dad, or his friend inherited this from his dad. And I just love that this 1970s lens is getting some good use. In fact, I've used this lens more than any other lens in the last 3 weeks since owning it. So hopefully the next person that I pass it on to gets some good fun out of it as well. I'm not sure if you could really tell from the photographs I took in London, but shooting this thing wide open f2, which I did a handful of times, but I don't do that too often, certainly provides some character. And that character isn't super pin sharp, modern optics quality stuff. That's as scientific as we're gonna get today. But it certainly has some character, and the bokeh is super interesting. And I realize that might not be to some people's tastes, that's fair enough, but I like that it's different. For example, this shot here with the gentleman in the suit I took around the Bank of England is one of my favorite photographs I've taken this year. I think this was actually shot at 2.8 not completely wide open at f2, as I would probably have missed the focus being on the move like that. But at f2.8, I didn't do a bad job, and the bokeh here is just lovely. And talking about that photograph specifically, none of my other lenses would have made it look like this one did. So credit to the 1970s tech right there. Talking about the 40mm focal length specifically, going into it, I wasn't too excited about using it as like a wider 28 or 35 is my go-to. But the fun things about this lens and all the reasons I've explained about why this lens is so good, the character of it, the size of it, how easy it is to use, that has completely overpowered my slightly negative opinion about 40mm. And actually, I've kind of grown to like 40, and I thought it would be much tighter than it really is, and it feels way closer to 35. In my head, I'm kind of rounding 40 to 50. That's what my assumption was going into it. And I was like, well, shooting at 40mm will be probably similar to 50. It's not. It's actually quite similar to 35, and I've not missed as many photographs or struggled to take as many photographs as I thought I would. Yes, it's not as wide as a 35 or 28, obviously, but I'm still kind of taking similar sort of photographs, and it's not been a problem at all. So I've been surprised at how fun 40mm is, which goes back to my point earlier. I kind of just want to buy this lens somewhere because it's becoming my favorite lens I've ever used. I will also leave lots of useful links and references in the description from other photographers that have used this lens specifically or used a very similar lens. There is way better blogs and articles out there from photographers that know more accurately what they're talking about. I realize my demonstrations and comparisons on camera gear sometimes isn't that technical, but I just don't really care about that kind of stuff. Is the lens fun to use? Yes. Do the photographs look pretty cool? Yes. That's all I care about. So thanks for watching this video, and leave a comment down below. Who do you think I should pass this lens on to? I've got a couple of people in mind that use Leica M bodies. They would probably enjoy the lens, but I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. Let's see if this lens can really travel the world.